Right.
Right, hi, I'm Mark, and this is Book Review Wednesday. This week we are doing a podcast. I am joined today by the lovely Jasmine Rook.
Hello.
And we are going to review the first trilogy of the Edge Chronicles, the Quint trilogy.
That's right, yeah.
Had to think then. Right, we are doing this trilogy because it is a book series we have in common, and because they are absolutely brilliant. So, right, Jasmine, would you like to start us off? Why do you love this book?
Oh, dearie me. Well, it's difficult because each of the books in this trilogy offers something different. Obviously set in the same world, but they're set in very different scenarios. But I think the character Quint, his development as a character across the books really it picks up because he's put in all of these different scenarios. So what he starts out as in the very first book, The Curse of the Golden Gozer, by the Clash of the Sky Galleons, the last one, he's really much become a different person. He's matured, particularly in the first book. He's quite childlike in a way. His curiosity gets the better of him.
I was going to say the other character, what's her name?
Maris.
Maris, that's it. She finds him quite annoying and childish, doesn't she?
Oh yeah,
to begin with.
But then by the last book, even though maybe a matter of just a couple of years have passed by, because of the things that he's gone through, I feel he's much more confident, much more profound in himself, and he's kind of abandoned the immature ness that he had, because in the first book obviously he was the son of a sky pirate captain, and he kind of felt entitled, to be like respected and stuff like that. But you can definitely tell through his adventures that he's kind of built up his reputation, and so that
he's kind of earned the title of Cloud.
Definitely, and I think Paul Stewart and Chris Field really got that character development going. So that's what I liked most about the book. So what about you?
Fair enough. Well, I have to admit, I love the world. I'm always for world building when it comes to fantasy books, and the world of the Edge Chronicles is amazing. Starting with Sanctifrax, which, despite the fact that I'm still not certain what they do at Sanctifrax that's so important, it's an amazingly complex little society in and of itself. He manages to set a whole book and several other parts of the other books in that one little tiny place. And also, come on, a floating city.
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely.
Looking at the other main character, which would be Maris, I quite like her character development as well, because although she doesn't play quite as crucial a role, she does go from very much being a bossy know-it-all, because she is, to, a much more mature woman, and, she does grow over the series as well, even though she isn't the main character.
Oh, definitely. What do you think, with considering that The Curse of the Golden Gozer and The Winter Nights are the first two books in the series? How do you feel that they're both isolated to just Sanctifrax? I mean, there's this huge world, but like I said, the first two books just isolated to this certain thing. What do you think? Do you think it's a good thing?
Honestly, I'm impressed. I've tried writing books myself, which kind of are focused in a relatively small location. And the fact that he can come up with two books and still be teaching us new things about the setting, even a relatively small setting, is incredible.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's so vastly detailed, just the way that all the academies work and stuff like that. And like you say, it's almost comical how no one really knows what the point of their studies are. But no, I think they're fantastic.
Oh dear me. Right, let's move on. Why do you love this author in particular?
I think ease of accessibility is wonderful. When I was studying English literature, we were looking at Samuel T. Coleridge's Rime of the Ancient Mariner, who you could argue he was the first poet who basically said there shouldn't be like a division of like people's reading ability. Everyone should be able to read books and enjoy them, no matter who you are or how educated you are. And I feel that they nailed this book. I mean, it's aimed at young teens, but there's so much depth to it. You can enjoy it no matter how old you are.
I was going to say, I started at 25 and I still loved it.
But yeah, it's very easy to read, but without being too simplified. I think everyone can enjoy it, and I think that their ability to just hit a really large target audience with these books is. I think that's why I love him as an author, because he just manages to do that without flaw. What about you?
For me, it's a combination of his description and the illustrations that come with them. I mean, every description I've read throughout the book, when I finally come across the illustration that matches what I've been, it's being described, whether it's one of the main characters or one of the various creatures that live in this book, they match up so well. He creates, really easy to visualize characters, which is a really very good skill to have.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you say, illustrations just match his writing just fantastically. Yeah, I'd have to. Yeah, I think he's a very very good author, very widely. I was about to say known. I'm not too sure if he's widely known actually.
Well, we can help with that. This is what we're doing now. But yeah, to be honest, for the few hardcore fans of his work, he is a writing god basically. He has come up with such a beautiful world.
I mean, these books are by no means actually new. They're quite old. They've been out for goodness. I say I'm a fan. I can't even remember when they were written. At least 10 years ago, most likely more than that. So they've been around for a while. But I think it's a fantastic contribution to the world of fantasy fiction.
Definitely. Right. So finally, why do you think other people should read this book? I mean, you've talked about accessibility already. What what were your high points throughout the series?
I think he's managed to have a very detailed world, and you just get completely lost in it. I think no matter what kind of like genre you're into, they manage to get a little bit of something in there. There's action, there's just fantasy, there's a bit of romance tucked in here and there, like underlying politics. There's just a little bit of everything to suit everyone, really. And like ease of accessibility, there's something in it for everybody. And I think the illustrations complete these books. If it wasn't for the illustrations, these books wouldn't be what they were. That would be my top reasons for recommending these books.
Read this book to look at the illustrations.
Not quite.
Nah, yeah, I do know what you mean. For me, yeah, I think it would just have to be, if you have ever been a fan of Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, to quote a more recent one, if you love massive worlds that you can quite literally step into, then these are the books for you. They are incredible.
Definitely. And this is only the first trilogy.
And this is only the first trilogy. I'll say we're going to do the second trilogy, the Twig trilogy, and then the Rook trilogy. Mm-hmm. And then we'll probably finish off with the Immortals book, was it?
That's right, the finale book.
The finale book, yes. So there is more to come on this world, and for that reason alone, the fact that he can keep the books going for that long is well worth the read.
Oh God,
the world is amazing.
I know, there's so many. There's 11 books, I believe. There's so many. But yeah, definitely worth the read.
Right. Any closing remarks?
If you haven't heard of this author, look them up. Not only just Inside the Edge Chronicles, but other books that he's written. I would totally recommend. Not that I've read many of them myself, but no, I would definitely find something by Paul Stewart and anything that Chris Riddell's illustrated, because I've read a few books which he's worked without Paul Stewart, but his illustrations complete any book. Anything by either of these people, I would definitely say pick up and give them a read.
Fair enough. And I would say, if you've ever wanted to fly around on a sky pirate ship, go for it. These books are worth it.
Poppy shush.
Poppy the dog has decided to interfere in the podcast. You're a very bad dog, but she loves these books too. I'm sure she does. Right, we will leave you guys there, but we'll be back with our next podcast quite soon, hopefully.
All right, see you guys around.